All right, we're back here. We got 2 rounds left of Magic today. So if you've been here all day, awesome. I hope you're enjoying yourself. We've got Eli Loveman here. And right now, before we get our top 4 match rolling, we're going to look at the deck that Eli would have played if he was playing in this event. So let's go ahead and bring that up. And you would have chosen Gruul aggro, which, okay, that's great because we have one on both sides of the bracket. What's any significance or any deviations from stock in as far as this deck list goes?
Yeah, so I think Gruul aggro's probably biggest weakness is the card Wicked Wolf. It's an indestructible big creature that eats something of yours on the way in. And I was combing through the Magic Online Challenge deck list, and I noticed this guy. I think he's a Brazilian grinder by the name of I think it's Ratstaff or something. I'll get that later. But he had 2 Soul Seer in the main deck. And that's a card that I think is pretty well positioned because it kills Lovestruck Beast, which is a way to stop your Gruul. If you're playing the Gruul Mirror, it stops your opponent from being able to get the Great Henge on turn 4.
Right.
And it has this indestructible clause on it, which means that you can actually kill a Wicked Wolf. And I was thinking that might actually clean up a lot of your bad matchups with this deck.
Sure. Okay, so we see you have 2 Soul Spears, and then
It's just got the
big
nice
cards
numbers here.
3 Great Henges, 3 Ember Cleaves. Okay, yeah. I feel like 5 or 6 total of those cards. We saw earlier today, we saw a list with 4, which seemed a little light on kind of the game breaking things. And then you've gone with Shield Breakers over some of the alternatives. So you feel that's mostly for the mirror, right?
Yeah, I think, so there's a couple cards you can play in that slot. You've got your Rimrock Knights as another 2-mana adventure creature. You can play Robber of the Rich. It's just a way that's more kind of a flat power level, but a higher power level. But I think Embrace Shield Breaker is the best one for that slot because there's a lot of important artifacts in this format, most notably the Sword of Eldraine Mythic Rares. You can see the Great Henge and Ember Cleave. And even against food, you can pick off a food token every once in a while,
Sure.
which gives a full card of value a lot of the time. And you just want something to kind of grease the wheels with your Edgewall Innkeepers. You want that card to not just have only 8 targets. I like rounding up the numbers a little bit.
Yeah, that's reasonable. And also, I mean, there's Maze Mind Tomes all over the place now with these blue-black decks. So it's blue decks. It's another thing you can hit. Okay, so we'll see how this plays out as far as decks very similar to yours playing out in our 2 remaining our 2 semifinal matches. We are going to be watching Christian Calcano against Carson Bell. Let's go ahead and bring up the deck lists. We're going to be watching from Carson Bell's perspective, and we have, again, Gruul Adventures. Some obvious differences. Wow, some significant differences from yours. Why don't you take us through this?
Well, the first card I think we'll go over is the most important one. Smack dab in the middle there, 2 Ox of Agonis in the main deck. That's probably one of, if not the best cards in the formats against rogues. I think Christian Calcano has 1 Clean to Dust in his main deck, which could be an out, but if you're playing rogues, you do not want to see Ox in game 1.
Mm-hmm. And then, so I've seen 2 Crone War main. I've seen 2 or 3 copies on the board. I've never seen 4 main deck.
Yeah, it looks like Carson Bell wants to address the weakness to Wicked Wolf with a different card. He's going with a Crone War as a way to steal Wicked Wolf for a couple turns, maybe chump attack with it. Like you said, a couple copies main deck, not too out of the ordinary. The full 4, though, he's ready for these green mirror matches. We'll see how it goes against a blue-black deck.
Right, and no copies of Questing Beast to kind of round things out a little bit. Okay, so let's see Calcano's deck. Again, we have I keep pointing this out each time we see a Rogues deck because it's one of the option cards where we have 2 copies of Low Mage Domination. This morning we saw a deck that had 4. We do have 1 Clean to Dust, like you were saying. That's important, more so than usual, because of the presence of the main deck Ox, and then kind of a spread of removal and interactive cards. So this is going to be this should be good. You said before you'd want to be on the Gruul side of this matchup.
It can be close. Christian does have some tools. He's got a couple Low Mages Dominations, another one in the sideboard. But overall, I think Rogues is at its best when it's dealing with clunky, expensive creatures that it can just drown in the lock and then play a second spell on the same turn. Here, he's not going to have that luxury. He's got to go toe-to-toe with another really mana-efficient deck.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this rolling if the players are ready to go. This will be a little interesting, though, with all 4 copies of the Crown War. Okay, where the players aren't quite ready yet. Maybe we can just come back to us. With 4 copies of the Crown War, and we're going to be watching from Carson's perspective. We'll really get to see in game 1 how, if any of those are drawn, is he able to, get any leverage out of them at all, or are they just dead cards?
Yeah, it's tricky because let's see, I've never actually played with that card versus Rogues because it's normally a mirror attack card.
Right.
So most of the Rogues creatures have more toughness than power. So the Chapter 3 will only get the black 1-drop. It'll only get Thieves Guild Enforcer. But the mind control for a couple turns can be okay. Especially against Lurrus, get a little bit of your own Lurrus value. I like the sound of that.
It's true. And also Lurrus is the other creature that will kill itself.
So yes, that's true.
So that is something. But yeah, we're kind of looking for situations where it can help, as opposed to thinking this card's going to dominate in these scenarios. This is not an ideal setup. I mean, it's like, okay, would you rather have no Ox and no Crown Wars in your main deck, or the 2+4 that we do have here?
No, give me as many Ox. I don't care what other cards you have to put in my deck. I'll just discard them to the Ox. It's fine.
Okay.
Oh, you know what though? Is the Crab a defender? Does it have to attack?
Oh, I think it does. I think it's not a wall.
Defender? Yes. Okay, so you can make them jump attack with the Ruin Crabs. Okay. Not that Gruul gets decked that often in this matchup, but just trying to think of as many corner cases as I can.
Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting to see how Carson manages to navigate with some main deck cards that are not ideal. So while we have a minute here still, how do you feel like you're testing for the Zendikar Rising Championship next week? We have Standard and Historic. What's your feeling? Like the Pro Tour you won had a limited portion. It was limited in Modern, right?
Yes.
Now, are you a fan of, like, would you prefer that you had a limited portion in your Pro Tour next week, or are you happy with having 2 constructed formats?
I think it's funny because that limited format was a little weird because it was week 1 and it was really early. I think that helped kind of close the gap because we kind of had a small testing team, and if the more time you give a big testing team to get their limited format, like their limited testing going, the better they're going to do.
Okay.
Sounds like we're rematch.
All right. We'll save you from having to waste any more time with my silly question as we get our top 4 rolling here. And we're, again, like we said, we're on Carson's side of things this time around. Carson
looks like a mulligan to 6 here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, keep 6.
The playable 6, though. Are we dumping a Crown War? No, we're dumping Smashing. Okay.
We're
not sure. I guess we have...
He can always filter a card away.
We didn't really talk about that, but having Fire Prophecy as a way to filter does allow you some leeway on getting around having these less than ideal cards in your deck. Like right here, this Crab comes down, and this Crown War will likely just get tossed, which is going to end up being totally fine.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the next card off the top is. A 4th land, I think you will take. Although, no, it looks like he wants to have enough gas in the tank.
Can't be interesting that he...
Rogues does have the ability to go 1-for-1 with you, so it is nice to have enough creatures around.
Right.
Although these landfall creatures do kind of want to see another land roll off the top.
All right, so we can get things...
always use the Mammoth as a land.
Yeah, that's true.
Or I'd rather just get it down.
Okay, that is what's going to happen. It just comes down.
A land next turn with... Oh, yeah, a land next turn. Wow. A land next turn lets him go Brushfire, Stomp, attack for 3, 4, 8. Oh, there's the Ox.
That's where Carson wants it to be.
He doesn't get punished for getting rid of those 2 extra red sources.
That can be an issue, as these decks are more heavily slanted towards green.
Yeah, it's not even too important to resolve it. It's just really efficient at cleaning up your graveyard. Only 2 mana to exile 8 other cards. We saw in the other match that the match previous to this one that the spider did not do really a good job. It was just too much mana.
Mm-hmm. So we see here Calcano. I mean, Calcano's got a nice board established. Carson has effective cards in hand and the Ox in the graveyard, but the mana is a bit of a hang up at the moment, and
Ugh,
that
another double red card.
yeah. Okay, well,
Can clear the way for an attack for 3. Certainly has stuff to do. Kind of thinking about dealing with this, though. It is nice to counter the adventure ability of an adventure creature.
right, because you don't get the other half of the card. Yeah, so that would certainly work out. Plus, by countering this, there's no attack for the mammoth this turn, and Carson is very quickly found himself stuck.
Still at 20 life, though. A little
Right.
bit of not too far into the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see him looking there at the bottom of his deck there.
Mm-hmm. Calcano also on 3 land, but much more able to operate on limited mana than the Gruul Adventures deck. And not much of an attack here. Just getting for 1 damage. Mill, hopefully not a mountain. Okay, it's a forest. Any land is
Calcano also might be looking for a little extra grease. Oh, okay. And there it is. It's going to cost him 3 life, but I'm sure that he's happy about it.
Mm-hmm. So.
Now, what do you do here?
Well, it's
Crone War. The Crone War sort of deals with the Ruin Crab. I'm not sure there's a way to get a 2-for-1 out of the Crone War.
Yeah, a Crone War maybe waits for Lurrus.
Yeah, I kind of like the sound of that, I guess.
So the Lurrus didn't go into hand this turn, so Calcano presumably has something to do right now. Whatever that may be, we'll see. I mean, and this isn't the worst. This is a pretty okay trade anyway. All right, so it's mill 2 more cards. Greg Henge goes away. That's fine. Carson didn't want that anyway.
Get a little bit of a keep his board intact. Does Calcano?
Mm-hmm. And there's the 4th land. So both players get to 4 land. I'm sure Carson would be willing to draw another one.
It would allow him to cast Ember Cleave. Never mind.
That's off the table now. Yep. And okay, there's the Lurrus in hand, and we may get to the point. We may be at the point where the Ox just has to come down.
Yeah, I think that is his best play at this point. It does not get him any card advantage, but discarding a bunch of uncastables is its own, that's really its own form of card advantage if you think about it.
Yeah. And there's 23 cards in the graveyard already, so I mean, this is.
Yeah.
He can't get out from underneath the reverse anti-threshold very quickly without these Oxes dying a couple times. And that may not happen before he actually runs out of cards in the first place, runs out of the deck, I mean.
Looks like he's going to go through and just pick out... He's going to leave his creatures in his graveyard, so he's just picking out all of his lands and spells. Mm-hmm. Wants a Scavenging Ooze to be able to gain lots of life.
And Scavenging Ooze would be a decent draw. Anything he can play here would be fine.
Yeah, it is also a 2-mana 5/3. It's a pretty good deal. Looks like he's 1 mana short from casting the Great Henge. Next turn would be very powerful, though.
Yeah. So, let's see.
A creature off the top would be pretty good.
Sure, land off the top wouldn't be the worst either, depending on what happens on the other side. Ooh.
It looks like Calcano also be able to refill his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Man, his draw might be able to power through this Ox also. I said that Ox was one of the best cards against rogues, but it's not going to be able to get the job done by itself.
Right, and that's what it's had to do so far. So now, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. It can go Henge into a Crone War.
And now that there are 2 creatures, he might be able to get a 2-for-1 out of it by forcing Calcano to chump attack with multiple creatures into these bigger ones.
Right.
What
And then
happens next turn?
and Luris just really can't come down.
Yeah, you probably want to wait a turn on that if you have any other plays available to you.
Which he has to. He just drew a million cards.
I don't know, man. I've been playtesting with some rogues. You'd be surprised. It doesn't always give you a gas, you know? It looks
Yeah.
scary over there with all those counter spells, all that blue mana up, you know?
Ooh, and no, nothing is played. All right, so
Start the chain here with
yeah,
a 1 drop.
this would be a great time for a counter spell for Calcano, and there it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
I believe there's one Essence Scatter in the deck.
Put the kibosh on that.
Yeah, that ends that turn, and I guess swing in.
Oh, I don't like that attack. I think you want to, yeah, you want to hold the ox back so you can eat the crab. Looks like he's going to go for the damage route.
Yeah. Well,
It is an attack for half of his life
oh
points.
my goodness.
Yeah, all right, we're gassing up here.
Yeah, so that's half the life, but it's not a 2-turn clock because the Soaring Thought Thief is going to go back. Hmm.
Can't wait to see that crab turn sideways. Give it to me. Yeah, you see that each tapped creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. That will not kill the Ruin Crab. You have to use the second chapter to kill Ruin Crab, which is the attack trigger.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there is the Luris. So that and another crab. Yikes.
And
And
we're
oh
going to get
boy.
built for 12 here.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Carson will check his. Oh, well, there's the danger of this line of play. This next Ox is going to be extremely powerful. We're going to draw 4 cards, or is the Great Henge a cast trigger? Do you have to discard the last card?
I think it just has to come into play for the.
So I don't think you get that Great Henge card either way, though. Not that he'll need it. I don't think 3 cards should be plenty enough, considering that every creature cantrips.
Maybe, but he's going to have to.
Oh well. Oh no, he has 10 cards left in his deck. There's your
Yeah, he's
problem.
going to win this turn.
He could draw a Shatter Skull Smashing. That. Oh no, the fetch land still isn't correct. Okay, so he has a virtual 4 cards left in his deck. Yeah, that's not going to cut it.
No, he has to.
Because he has to kill all of these creatures because they all are representing
Right.
cards milled from his library. He has an Embercleave left in his deck.
Okay. Well,
So that is his out. Okay, we'll see if he gets there.
How many cards
There's
are
a
left?
couple shots
9?
at it.
There's 9 cards, so he's actually got a lot of, and a little bit of redraw too. But you're right. I think. Oh well, if Calcano has anything, then it doesn't matter.
So now milling 6 cards here. There's got like a 66% chance of hitting the Embercleave left. There it goes.
Wait,
Yeah. All right.
Is there 3 cards? No, it's already over. He's dead. He's gonna draw 4. Yeah. So this is it. Yep. And Carson dies to drawing a card without a library. So that was, I mean, not a shocking result given how the game started out, where Carson kind of didn't have a lot going on and mulliganed and missed some land drops. But he can make some adjustments for the next game. We see a 3rd Ox. We see a 3rd Fire Prophecy. We see all 4 Crowan Wars immediately leave the deck.
Not with the card you want for this matchup.
No.
It's like, yeah, I think the most important card that he's bringing in is probably Clothis. Mm-hmm. There's no way for Calcano to remove it unless, I guess, it becomes active and then stolen by Low Mage's Domination. But if he has 7 Devotion, he'll probably die anyway. But it'll just chip away at Calcano's life total and ability to cast Drown in the Lock and End of the Story. So
right.
If he gets that on turn 3.
Calcano's still sideboarding, so let's go ahead and jump over and look at his sideboard real quick while Carson is waiting. So we have
backup Mind Control.
Right. And then so this is not really the Clean Dust matchup, but there's 3 Ox now. Do you bring in your second one?
I think, well, the thing about Rogues is that it's kind of like Dredge, sort of, where dredge players will usually side in their nature's claims because they assume that no matter what they're playing, that they'll have graveyard hate. Rogues is kind of the same way. We bring in your anti-escape card because a lot of decks will have an escape card to try and beat you. Oh, let's not play the green source here.
Right. Ooh.
Oh, it looks like his plan was to, okay, I see. In that case, it's actually kind of nice because you bluff not having a second color,
Right, but do you? Okay, I guess if you're playing Love Struck anyway, I was thinking you want to have
Yeah,
the
you want to have the option to right on time. Yeah, you don't really want to waste your removal spells on these little stinky merfolk.
Yeah, well, I was thinking because of the elemental, the 2-drop. But yeah, if you're just running Love Struck out no matter what, then this is totally fine.
I suppose it would. Yeah, it would give you the option to cast a turn 3 plus land,
right?
Breathfire Elemental.
All right, though. This is I mean, if Shatterskull can take down
2 creatures here,
2 creatures before they get to 8 cards in the graveyard, that would be pretty nice. And it looks like that option is going to be available. On the other hand, you could just kill the Thought Thief, and
he does not have enough mana to do that. Oh no, he's a Fire Prophecy.
With Fire Prophecy, yeah.
That's kind of mana inefficient. I think I would just settle for Electrolyze, Forked Bolt, full price. Oh, actually, you could attack with the... Nah. Looks like he's going to opt to not get value, but kill the more important creature. Defensible play.
Right. Do you dump a Mammoth here? Keeps everything. I'm surprised. Oh, okay. If you're playing one as a land, never mind. I think that's fine then. I guess.
The nice thing about the Mammoth is that if you can glow Mammoth 10. Oh no, you can't. All right. Well, he does want to get as many cards out of his hand as possible because when the Ox does come down, you have to discard your hand.
Has to be happy this turn though. Getting in for 7 damage. That's
yeah. This turn was gonna go pretty well from either way.
Yeah.
Is he gonna miss his window to kill these Wind Robbers before their ability is online though?
Right.
Looks like
he is. Although, I mean, the Ox will turn the ability off. So I guess that chance will exist once again unless Calcano does it preemptively. And it's nice that for Carson that Calcano has to do it first. Because that's painful.
All right, well but I was gonna say, you might not really care about killing these 1/1s. They don't really, they're not very impactful unless they're like comboing with a Luris to make it Luris into a Phyrexian arena. But now they let the Lovestruck Beast attack, so kind of punished for the line he took, but I feel like he's trying to tap his mana correctly so that he is able to top deck a burn spell, is my guess.
I think he might be trying to set up being able to Lovestruck and Ox.
I think he's a card in the graveyard short. Yeah, it looks like he only has 8 cards in his graveyard, and you need 1 more.
Oh, you're right. Okay, sure. Well, if that's the case, you're right. Okay, so it is 8. So the Wind Robbers are turned on, but the Ox isn't. Okay, so that's
because you need.
Yeah. Okay, so very small window where it's actually completely in Calcano's sphere. Oh boy.
I like that. This is a good time to emote. That is definitely the correct play in this spot.
All right. So Calcano with 2 cards left in hand.
Yeah, you can see there, declining to attack with the Wind Robbers does not want to get the Ox active.
Right, but
the best draw for Carson is probably either a fetch land or a instant or sorcery.
Well, I think the smashing, taking down the 2 Wind Robbers will mean that the Lovestrucks can't attack anymore.
It also sets up the Ox for next turn because it does put a card in the graveyard, but he doesn't have 4 red to do it all in the 1 turn.
I guess if Calcano's not attacking with Wind Robbers, there's no
Couldn't just throw
rush to
out
kill
this
him.
Lovestruck Beast
Yeah.
first. Kind of, I like this play because I believe anti-cognition counters anything, right? So
It counters anything as long as there's 8 in the graveyard, yeah.
yeah, looks like he's just gonna try and block his way
Or
out.
well, no, I mean it doesn't counter. It's creatures and planeswalkers, so it couldn't counter the front half
Shatter,
spells.
yeah, it doesn't counter the. Okay, that doesn't play
Yeah.
around anything. Ignore me. Oh, thank you. Yeah, as you can see here,
Well,
yeah, it doesn't matter how many cards they have in their graveyard. You still kept to target the same things. The threshold, so to speak, kicks in, and then it makes it a hard counter.
yeah.
Oh, huh, interesting. So he wants to attack in order to get the Ox of Agonis online. That's why you see this kind of funky attack here.
Mm-hmm.
Christian thinking about killing off a human token, but decides, nah, I'm good.
Right,
And
so
successfully dumped a card in the graveyard. Got him a little damage for his trouble as well.
boy.
Oh, well. Now that the Oxes are active, might as well cast a Thieves Guild Enforcer. Can't quite deal 10 damage this turn.
Oh, this is gonna be into the story potentially.
Looking for no, there's no
Yeah,
does not have enough mana to
yeah. Carson
kill
will get
Carson.
Carson will get the turn back, but he's gonna be in rough shape. Although, if Calcano doesn't have,
Yeah,
if both of Lovestruck's attack,
yeah, I don't think I like that play because then
yeah,
he just throws a 1/1 under the bus.
yeah, there's a world where the Shadow Skull Smashing then would allow an attack for the win. Maybe. I mean, that's unlikely. Well, here they come. Calcano does have a bunch of cards in his hand. He knows if he has a Drown the Lock, then he's going to be safe from pretty much anything.
It'll be locked up, pardon the pun.
Okay, so then do we trade here? You obviously have to block one of them at least, but do you trade or do you keep your Lovestruck Beast and try and have a chance to win?
I think the play is the chump block, but going long isn't too bad for you either because of the Oxen.
Right.
That lets him do, might let him do it all. His Brushfire Elemental also looking pretty juicy, actually.
Yeah, yeah. So this is going to be,
even without the fetch land, it might have been enough for the kill, but this just adds insult to injury here.
well, this is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, yeah, so you have to go for the smashing here, but that's not the route chosen. Okay, so we're not trying to win this turn.
He can still no.
Well, I imagine
he's just gonna go for an Ox.
Yeah.
Tapping 5 mana into an open 2 mana and a fresh end of the story.
Yeah, I know. It's scary.
But is letting him untap any better for you? He's leaving himself with 2 blockers, potentially more after the Ox.
Or yeah, because the Mammoth can come down also.
You should probably get a green source here. Oh, might not be able to cast the Mammoth. No, he can cast the Mammoth even if the Ox doesn't work. So he'll have 3 blockers no matter what. I'm pretty sure.
Right, I agree. I think there's gonna be unless. Oh, let's see what's gonna come down right here. It could be just.
Also might just opt to get rid of the Brushfire Elemental. Going to 2 is not the best versus the Bone Crusher Giant deck. Yeah, it looks like he's going to play it safe as far as Bone Crusher Giant here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Going to put the shield down.
Whoa. So you don't. Okay, yeah.
Mammoth. No, I think it's fine to cast the Ox first.
Really?
Mammoth isn't exactly. Mammoth isn't exactly.
Sure, but okay.
I think he's far enough behind that you might want to take the chance, but like making the surface level play.
What are we hoping to hit for 3 or less mana by not doing it this way?
Another burn spell.
Okay.
And he does hit a burn spell here.
So Calcano, with only 2 black mana available, he can. Well, Lurrus isn't even in hand yet, I guess. But Lurrus plus Enforcer can't actually deploy at the same time, or Lurrus and.
I'm not sure Calcano wanted to block with the 1/1. The Lustruck Beast was kind of his win condition. Okay. Putting it back in the graveyard, only going to slow it down. Okay, has another Wind Robber. That explains that. Not sure about the attack, though. It's kind of dicey.
Yeah.
Do you play a land for turn?
There's 7 damage on the board for Carson with the land drop. This is...
Okay.
All right.
Okay, that's going to 4, but probably will be able to protect himself.
Well, now you can just... now you can just send everything in.
Hold up, Stomp, you're right. Looks like he's going to go for Stomp first. Oh, I think it was actually correct. I think he might have figured out his play before he paid 3 life. Because if something goes wrong here, you do lose your Bone Crusher Giant. Oh, and looks like he does not have the gas to do it.
Well, that was a pretty decent game that we just saw.
Coming down to the wire on life totals for both players.
Yeah, definitely, and really milling not involved so much that time.
It is tougher to mill out these more proactive decks. You usually see them mill like Mono Green Food or Esper Yorion are usually the victims of the crab. Not so much the Adventures.
But Ox, boy, that was awkward there. It felt like 3 or 4 turns in a row where the Shadow Skull Smashing could have been played, and it was unclear whether it should be, and it ended up never happening, and it worked out.
Yeah, there are a few double red spells in this deck, so sometimes it's tricky to double spell.
Yeah.
You got your Ox, you got your Embercleave, Smashing, all cost red mana, and 2 of them each. Mm-hmm. And it's just a bunch of basic lands and a flip land, so.
Yeah. So that was a game. Carson won that game without. I would not say his draw was particularly great that game.
Well, he didn't draw the Oxen. They were put in there for him, you know.
Well, yeah, that's true. That helps. All right, so
that's the beauty of Gruul Adventures, Joe.
2 brush fires, a fetch land, and nothing else. Are we good here, or are we going back?
That's a good opening. Yeah. You just have to draw like at a 4-drop, and then you're kind of rocking.
Yeah, and we do have
Okay, well, I don't think I would wait until all of them are in play to crack the fetch land. I think.
No.
Oh well, there is the best card in.
Yeah.
Well, maybe second best, but one of the better cards.
This is going to be a lot.
Drown in the Loch is not going to stop it. I don't know. He could play a crab and a land next turn, or he could. Let's see here. Just going to pick off this elemental before it gets crazy. Yeah. You really want to have crab and then an untapped black land right now, if you're Christian Calcano. Mm-hmm. 1 Essence Scatter, 1 Anti-Cognition. Okay. And if I'm Carson Bell, I don't know if I would play around too much. You want to get that thing. You want to cast it before Drown in the Loch is at 3 CMC.
Mm-hmm. Or you could also be of the mind that you can just force other action with these string of brush fire elementals. But yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. Is Drown in the Loch cannot currently countercloth this.
Ooh, that is one way to get around it.
Yeah.
Playing around the 1-of did pay off there. Now let's see if Calcano. No, just going to put the shields down here. Looks like Clothis is going to hit the table, and it might be the upset here.
Wow. This is an impactful card. This will disrupt the Lurrus to some degree, but really it's an unstoppable clock. Did we agree that this just can't be killed?
Yeah, I don't know. There's not a way to remove it.
Yeah, and do you just knock out the Lurrus right now, or you alternatively attack with brush fire, but then
once I have Clothis in play, tapping out is not really that big a deal because you just want to not get beaten up.
Yeah, But if we're
survive for 9 turns.
like attacking with brush fire here, it just allows the Lurrus to attack back, so we're not gaining that much. Even if there's an Aghanims Awakening, I think I would still just shoot down the Lurrus right now because it forces it. Otherwise, we get to exile it permanently.
Yeah, Lurrus is going to put a little bit of a damper on this Clothis Sulfuric Vortex with Lifelink, drain you for 2 every turn. If Calcano is draining Carson for 3 every turn, he's going to get the better of the exchange. 3 greater than 2. These are your Pro Tour champion level analysis.
That's what we brought you in for. And then, okay. All right, well, this actually is going to work out fine because there is enough to 2, 3, 4. Sure, okay. So that drains. Either player's graveyard doesn't make a difference. Land comes in. Choosing color, choosing green, and then what are we? There's no
3 of each.
There's nothing to worry about here, right? Wow, yeah, playing Ox, I don't know if I could get behind that.
Gotta double check it, but I'm gonna come to the correct decision, I believe.
Yeah, I guess the brush fire.
Oh no, you actually can't kill them both, right?
You're right, you can't kill the brush fire, but I still think you.
Oh yeah, definitely put the Lurrus in the bin while you.
Right, and you still force the fetch also because it saves you.
Yeah, it does save you some damage there.
Yeah, I mean life probably isn't too much of an issue, but you may as well do it.
Yeah, with Lurrus in the deck, does not have access to Brazen Borrower, which is a sort of clean way to deal with Clothis. So just has to survive for 7 turns.
Yeah.
Or get the Lurrus to hit, or get the Lurrus to attack again, which is going to be tough but not impossible.
All right.
Okay. Put a stop to that before anything goes crazy.
Right, and then you have Shatter Skull for, I guess it just takes 4 mana. It doesn't really save you anything, but
yeah, the only soft counter spell is the Anti-Cognition, which, as we established, doesn't work on Shatter Skull smashing. Can't double spell or like pay a fancy amount of mana here, but just kill them all, whatever.
I guess you shoot the Enforcer for 2, I guess. But
as long as it's at least a couple extra damage to play around double rogue out of the hand.
Yeah. All right, so that cleans that up. Calcano with no follow-up. This cloth is just sitting on the board. I mean, Calcano's at 12, but this is gonna rapidly diminish, and
Rogue's not known for their high power, so
right.
Has to beat the two life every turn.
Yeah,
so just gonna make sure Aghanims Awakening is not part of the equation.
Right. Bone Crusher fires off, and then
Hardcap. Essentially, put it in the Adventure Zone so that the Ox doesn't just make it go to the graveyard. Plenty of more gas. Might even get to see the Clothis attack. Has the required devotion in hand.
Well, isn't that exciting? 4, 5, 6, 7, 5. It would, yeah. So we need to land off the top, but I mean, we don't really need the land.
Yeah, that's kind of only stalling the inevitable. Probably doesn't have enough cards in his own graveyard because we saw that Thieves Guild Enforcer was offline.
Mm-hmm. And Calcano down to 6 with a Bone Crusher in hand and a Clothis in hand. Carson realistically may not have to actually do anything else, but may as well throw down some creature or another here. I suppose.
This game was locked up when that Essence Scatter when the Essence Scatter was used.
Right, which allowed the Clothis, and then the Lurrus was put in hand. The Lurrus, like I think you pointed out at the time, the Lurrus, the tapping out to put the Lurrus in hand, the Clothis may have stayed in Carson's hand otherwise, in fear of another counter.
Yeah, he showed that he was getting a lot of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got 2 turns on.
Okay, that's not gonna help.
I guess into the stories online, but looks like it's
Yeah,
not
but
present.
yeah, this is not enough. Coathis and Ox are able to finish it off, and Calcano goes down to Carson Bell, who's into the finals to face Fabrizio Anteri. So you picked it right on both of the top four matches.
Yeah, like you saw that Cal was able to kind of do whatever he wanted in game one, but then those sideboard cards came into play, and you can see
Yeah,
the anti-rogue sideboard cards very impactful.
right, and they're very strong, and you don't have to draw them. So really, a lot of nice
You
things
don't,
going
you
on
just
there.
have to register them.
Yeah, yeah. So
Perfect deck.
I'm going to bring up the before we get the finals going, we're going to bring up our which is next month. Talk briefly about December 20th. It's our first multi-format online event here at Nerd Rage Gaming. $2,500 in cash prizes on the line, and the winner gets an invite to the Call Time Championship, where perhaps you can face Eli Loveman. You never know. The top 8 of the event gets invited to the Call Time Qualifier Weekend, same as today. So these players that you're seeing right now in the elimination rounds all got invites to the Call Time Qualifier Weekend. The first 4 rounds of our Legacy, and then 4 rounds of Modern, followed by a Modern top 8. And we have a deal with Card Hoarder sorted out, so it's $10. You can rent a 500 credit deck or $15 for an 850 credit deck. That's good starting on Friday, so you can check out your cards, practice with them if you like on Friday and Saturday, return them, get different cards as much as you want. And then on Sunday during the event, you have your Legacy deck, and then there's going to be a break between the Legacy and Modern rounds so that you can return your cards and then get a Modern deck so that you're able to surpass the credit limit doesn't have to include both decks. So we're excited we're able to offer this to all players. The winners of our trials get free entry in a round 1 buy. So there'll be 5 players with a round 1 buy, but it is a open entry event to anyone who's interested in playing. So we hope to see some of you there. In the meantime, we're going to take a brief break, and then we'll be back for our finals between Fabrizio Anteri and Carson